In order to accomplish anything, it always starts with a belief. First, you have to believe it's possible before you can achieve it. I didn't understand what that meant. How do you believe something that doesn't exist? Especially if the current state of position that I was in, I had no money, bank accounts were negative, credit cards were racked up. How could I believe that there was a future that existed where the opposite was true? And that's when I started to actually study that the mind is capable of creating a reality that doesn't exist in the physical world, that we are capable of experiencing a physiological and emotional change just by thinking it. And this might happen where if you imagine for a second you're holding a lemon, okay, imagine it looks just the yellowest lemon ever. And it's just, you can tell everything about it, that you go and you take just a massive bite of it, because you feel in your mind and in your body this rush of sourness that kind of just flooded your taste buds or your body or your mind. That is experiencing something that isn't real, and yet you believed, your mind believed. In a way, is it possible to create a belief inside of ourselves without having the physical world around us? Yes. So the next question is, well, how do you do that? How do you create a world inside of yourself that nurtures belief when everything around you physically tells you what you shouldn't believe? And this is what religion calls faith. And in our world, it's called hope. It's something that you cling on to that takes you into the future. And you can see that a different future awaits you from the work that you can do today. What that future looks like for everybody is different, and it can change. I remember one moment I tried to envision a future, my family and I having a really nice house, oceanfront. And it kind of did seem that was too far away. And so I imagined a future very simply where I was being invited to speak publicly, on stage, on podcasts, at mastermind events. And this is while my bank account was negative. I turned to my wife and I said, Amy, one day I'm going to be invited to speak publicly. I'm going to be invited to go on stage, to go to people's masterminds and be presenting to investors. It's going to be awesome. And a year later, I was invited to go to North Carolina to speak to a mastermind group. January of 2025, I was invited to Puerto Rico to speak to a mastermind group. End of April, I was invited onto a cruise to speak to a mastermind group. And the things that I had envisioned, that I had hoped for, that I believed was possible, was created. But the daily actions that I needed to do to get me there still needed to be done. I needed to believe that the actions that I'm working on today will get me there. Someone who works out every day, runs, eats well, eats healthy, right? If they believe that the actions they are taking every day will get them to this future version of themselves that they want to be at, then the work that they're putting in today will be worth it. And for anybody who's listening, where you feel like you have been putting in the work, don't ask yourself how much longer until you see that end, until you get to experience that future. I wouldn't ask that question. I would focus on another question. How long can I endure? I was willing to wait it out 10 years. 10 years living month to month, paycheck to paycheck. I was willing, and I am still willing, to live this life for over 10 years. Now on that journey, I'm still happy. My happiness and my identity to happiness is not attached to my income. My worth is not attached to my income. But that is where it starts. It's the fundamental belief that the work that you do today can result in something more.